Everyone thought Mimori was just a weak orphan with E-rank skills in a new world, but he would soon take revenge and destroy everyone who had wronged him. Mimori was a troubled kid who got abused in his own house by his mother's new boyfriend after his father's death. The poor kid got beaten up every day while getting barely anything to eat, as he cowered in the corner covering himself, while his horrible mother watched television, ignoring his shouts of pain. He ended up growing up to be a lonely kid, who was weak and didn't have any confidence. He wakes up from a nightmare of getting beaten up by his stepfather when he hears the bully of his class named Oyamata messing with a nice girl named Ayaka. He takes away her book and waves it in the air, making fun of her for reading girly novels because this ignorant imbecile can't understand that a girl will read girly novels. Mimori imagines how, in a TV show, he would stop the bullying and win everyone's admiration, but he knows that in reality, no one on the bus cares, and if he stands up for her, his weak frame will only get him beaten up. Most popular students support Oyamata, while the others laugh along to avoid being targeted. The teacher is useless, asleep, as Oyamata relentlessly demands the girl's phone number. Before he realizes it, Mimori stands up, looking Oyamata in the eye, and tells him to leave Ayaka alone. Oyamata laughs, calling him a simp and weak, when suddenly, Takuto, the most popular guy in class, tells Oyamata to give the book back. Oyamata obeys and returns the book to the girl, then moves on to bully another nerd, Yasu. Mimori questions why he stood up for Ayaka, an unusual act for him, but before he can dwell on it, everyone on the bus is transported to a different world. They are all utterly bewildered as they stand in a completely unknown place, while a hot goddess stands atop a bridge and introduces herself as the goddess Vicius. She explains that every time the threat of a demon king appears, the kingdom of aliens summons brave warriors from a different world to defend their kingdom. 200 years ago, the demon king almost demolished their entire kingdom, but thanks to some heroes, the demon king was soundly defeated, and the entire demon army was destroyed. Unfortunately, the demon king has been resurrected, which is why they have all been teleported to this world to fight as the new heroes who will put an end to the demon king. The students are utterly confused, as they wonder whether they are dead or if it is some kind of prank. Their teacher tells them to stay quiet and instructs them to listen to what the goddess has to say. Mimori looks at the old architecture, the soldiers wearing armor and holding spears, and the goddess with the golden eyes, before pinching himself to check if he is dreaming. Takuto ends up speaking and asks the goddess what will happen if they don't cooperate with her, to which the goddess smiles and claims that she won't be able to send them back to their world. Takuto asks whether there really is a way to go back, and Vicius replies that there is a reverse summoning ritual that can send them back. But to get that, they will have to kill the demon king, as they will require a special part called the evil element, which will only drop if he dies. Oyamata screams at her for calling them to a new world without giving them a choice and refuses to help. But Vicius goes down on one knee and begs them to help save her kingdom from destruction. Ayaka speaks up and tells the goddess that they are just humans who can't really do anything, but Vicius promises that they have abilities that they had no idea about. Oyamata still thinks that all of this is a joke, so Vicius decides to prove it and calls forth a prisoner of war and a giant demon dog. She lets the giant demon dog loose, and it immediately lunges at the prisoner, killing him. Some of the girls are horrified at this and fall to their knees, while Vicius looks at the demon before chanting a spell and completely blasting the monster into flames, removing it from existence. She calls the students forward and tells them that they are going to measure their latent abilities. One by one, all the students walk up to a crystal ball and check their abilities as it glows in different colors. After the others are through, Oyamata walks up to the crystal, and as soon as he puts his hand over the crystal, it starts glowing a bright red color. The goddess looks happy and claims that he has A-rank skills. Finally, Takuto goes ahead, but as soon as he puts his hand over the ball, it starts glowing a bright gold before exploding. After that, Ayaka steps up, and she also turns out to be S-rank, and after some more students, another girl walks up, who turns out to be S-rank as well. The guards are completely shocked, as Vicius explains that even having one S-rank individual is considered extremely lucky, but to have 3 S-ranked people is unreal. Finally, Mimori walks up to the crystal, but when he puts his hand over the ball, it starts glowing a dim purple color. The goddess doesn't even give him a second thought and tells the next person to come up. Mimori tries to ask what rank he is, but she completely ignores him. So, he walks away, realizing that even in this world, he is going to stay a background character. After that, Yasu, the nerd, walks over to the crystal and turns out to have a special dark ability inside of him, which another dark hero possessed a while ago and became the strongest. first. Finally, everyone checks their stats as the goddess tells them that they also have a personal ability that varies from person to person before informing them that they have to perform a critical ritual now. She calls Mimori to the front, and he is immediately pushed by a guard. She sends him down into a dark pit and claims that Mimori is E-ranked, which is the lowest in the entire class. Historically, E-ranked people have caused a lot of trouble, so they are usually killed. But since this time they have so many amazing heroes, she will give the E-ranker a chance to save his life, and he will be sent to the abandoned ruins, a dungeon far away where criminals and monsters are sent. She tells him that if he manages to survive, they will leave him alone, and he will earn the right to live. Otherwise, he can kiss his life goodbye. Mimori tries to argue, claiming that he can improve, but the goddess replies that he falls into the category of failure frame, meaning his stats are so low that even after training as hard as he can, he will not get better. He gets pissed off and tells the goddess that he never chose to come here. He was summoned against his will and is now being disposed of. But Takuto cuts him off and tells him that he is wasting everyone's time, as the girls are already tired. While everyone agrees with him, Mimori falls to the ground, defeated. When Yasu walks up to him, Mimori remembers the time when he helped Yasu after he got bullied. But Yasu rejects him and tells him that an E-ranker should speak with more respect to their superiors. Mimori loses all hope as the goddess commences the ritual and throws a leather bag as his special item, which is completely useless. Ayaka tries to defend Mimori by saying that this is wrong. Frustrated beyond belief, he raises his arm and uses the paralysis spell on the goddess, who easily manages to block it before calling Mimori a loser for even trying to hit her with his E-ranked skills. Takuto also tries his spell, which creates a huge fireball, as he claims that he was just checking by letting a small amount of mana into the spell. Everyone laughs at the power difference between a loser like Mimori and themselves, while Mimori simply puts his head down as tears fall down his cheeks. He remembers how his younger self used to cry when suddenly his soul tells him to stop acting like a good person and show them the true nature of his heart, the nature that he has been trying to repress for so long. Mimori finally lets it all go as he looks up with hate-filled eyes and tells the goddess that she is a rotten hag and warns her to be ready for him if he ever comes back alive. He immediately gets transported into a dark cave where he tries to open his status, but fails because of the low light. He pours some mana into the leather bag, and the gem starts glowing, which he uses as a lantern as he moves through the cave. Suddenly, he realizes that he has been walking on skeletons, which scares him. He wonders what could have killed all these people when a monster tries to attack him, which he barely dodges, and he starts running away. The monster starts chasing him while Mimori runs with all his might, thinking whether he should turn around and fight. But his heart knows that the level difference is so great that he will simply die the moment he stops. He starts crying out of fear and gets knocked to the ground because of a rock jutting out of the floor. He turns around to see his death in its face, while frustration over his life takes command of his body. Just as the monster was about to kill him, Mimori makes a last-ditch effort to save his life and casts the paralysis spell, which, to his surprise, actually petrifies the monster in place. He immediately gets up and starts running away, but soon he reaches the end of the cave, where another bird demon walks up to him with the raw intent of killing him. Mimori immediately raises his arm once again and uses the paralysis spell, which again freezes the enemy. He realizes that it wasn't a fluke, and his spell actually works. But he starts feeling tired, so he opens his stats and notices that his mana is almost completely gone. He realizes that he has one more skill left, so he tries to cast a poison spell on the demon, which works very well as the demon starts turning black and bleeding from its body. Mimori sits down on the cave floor wondering why his spells are so effective against these demons, when suddenly he hears something behind him. He turns around to see that the Minotaur demon has managed to break free from the spell and is ready to land the killing blow on Mimori. But this time, instead of running away, all the hatred for everyone who treated him badly floods back to him. Even though he is completely depleted, he raises his arms toward the demon, determined that from now on, he will kill to live his life and challenges the demon to fight him, not knowing whether he will survive this time or not. And with that, our episode for today comes to an end. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel in appreciation of my efforts.